beginning, again, we're going to talk about our OneConnect product today. And probably, the first thing to do talk about is, what is it? What's the application for? Where, would someone use it? And just all the features of it. And just a little bit of background on it is some of you may be very familiar with our liftgate charging systems. And our last generation of that is we took and combined all the different components that are on the front of a trailer and combined them into one. That if you look at some of the older versions of the liftgate charging or just trailers in general, there was a 7-way box, a dual pole, maybe a combination dual pole and single pole. There was our liftgate charging controller box, interior light controller. So what we did is we took all those different components and put them into one box. That was our latest Direct Plus, Flex, and Max. Well, we had a lot of fleets that says, hey, I really like that nose box, but I've got a whole bunch of trailers that don't have liftgate, so I don't really need to buy all that part. I just want that box. Do you have that available? It's like, well, no, we don't, but we can make that available. So we created what was called the OneConnect. And the whole idea of, again, was same family as our liftgate charging systems, but to take all those different components and put them into one box. Saves a lot of real estate on the front of a trailer, especially if you're looking at a reefer trailer. Reefer takes up a lot of room, and if it's a low clearance trailer, there's not a whole lot of extra room there for all these other components. So by being able to put them in one box, cleans up the front of a trailer immensely and centralizes all power. So there's a lot of things we can do with that by having all the power going to one box. And one of the most important things that was for the interior light controller. That was a totally separate product somebody had to buy. Created two boxes. Hey, let's put it all in one. So key to this is, saving trailer or saving space on the front of a trailer and to centralize everything. And one thing too, everyone, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to go ahead and put those questions in now. We are going to take time at the end to answer them, but if something comes up right now, don't hesitate to go ahead and type in that question. But again, about the OneConnect, it was, that common connection between truck and trailer. Every truck trailer has to have the J560 7-way to connect the two. Our idea behind this was, to clean it up and make it as easy for wiring and as easy for diagnostic as possible. So again, it all wound up in one box. We're going to more features as we go, but on this, product, it is two different families, if you will. That there's the plain OneConnects with different variations. Then also all those same variations are available with the interior light controller. But if it's just a plain trailer, you just want the basic box, we have that. Then we have all the different variations of different plugs in with and without the interior light controller. That one of the things we wanted to make sure too was this was very easy to install. And that if you look on the picture there is this box is already mounted to a metal plate. So it's very easy to put on the front of the trailer, drill your screws, rivet it, use the Hex-Tex or the trailer OEM's recommended bolts for fastening it. So it's very easy to mount, gives you lots of room and the ability to make all the connections. And when we looked at this, we went out and looked at not only new trailers but retrofits. So what kind of connections do fleets need, or technicians need, or OEMs need? And we did a combination of not only does this have the bullet connectors, but also the adapters that give you those bullet connectors or the push-on type connections. You can take those off and still use standard eyelets. Eyelets, our opinion are always going to be a much better electrical connection. So for speed, the trailer OEMs a lot of times like to use the bullets, but we give you the ability to use either one. We talked before about that metal plate is some applications that plate may be a little bit big because of the glad hand, the air connections. So we do give you the ability to take that plate off. Then that's the box itself uses the same mounting footprint as most other nose boxes out there in the industry. So even more flexibility for mounting this. A reason we like the metal plate, if used, a lot more forgiving if you're going across irregular surfaces. If it doesn't have a dedicated plate and you're going across rivets or whatever, that metal plate does make it a lot more forgiving to get a good mount on the trailer.
All right, thanks, Larry. Again, like Larry mentioned earlier, please submit your questions. We'll we'll have some time at the end of this webinar to answer those for you. But what I would like to do is kind of go into some of the ins and outs of the box itself, the OneConnect. As you can see here, there's a green circuit board that has all your 7-way connections on it. And I brought one with me too to kind of show you what that looks like and where that is inside the faceplate. But and like Larry mentioned, the bullet pins, you can do bullet pin style or the ring terminal style. We prefer the ring terminals, but for ease of install, you can certainly use the bullet pins. A lot of times when road call, you go into replacing the bullet pins, a lot of times they don't have the right crimpers to do so. It's pretty simple to crimp on a ring terminal, so we offer it that way as well. All the circuits are labeled with the circuit name and circuit color. You can see the number of pins per circuit. The blue circuit and the aux circuit, we offer two locations, 2 pins for that. Again, that kind of goes into saving organization inside that box. So we give you plenty of connection points. The ground, there's typically a lot more grounds on the 7-way or including interior lights and all that. So we give you 3 ground pins to connect to. The tail light, the right turn signal, stop, left turn, and lamps. We give you plenty of connection points and label it really clear for you. Some other available options, you have dual pole and 7-way. This product line, we're the only one that has a nose box that includes the dual pole and 7-way, all in one box. We offer just a dual pole. Again, the dual pole setup, we offer this or include this in our TAPS, our trailer auxiliary power system, for providing power inside the trailer to charge pallet jacks. This is the box we use with that kit. Dual pole and single pole is another option that's available. So going into, we talked about OneConnect with 7-way only. OneConnect with light control. I'm going to talk about some of the features of the light control. Again, it's all offered in all those same configurations that we just spoke about. Dual pole, a 7-way, dual pole, and then dual pole and single pole. Includes the interior light feature. There's a touch-sensitive button on the front, the nose of the controller. The beauty of that is it's touch-sensitive and no moving parts, so you're not going to have to replace the switch. It's just a simple touch-sensitive button. Another great feature, which we'll go into more detail, is all the side connections for better wire and cable management. For the dual pole, the single pole, 7-way, and the interior light circuit. So some other features of the light feature, interior light feature, is it's all configurable via timer or LVD, meaning low voltage disconnect. We utilize what's called dip switches. So that gives the operator the ability to configure the controller for a certain timer or a certain low voltage disconnect. It also automatically shuts off the lights when the truck is running. So the driver gets in, starts the truck. Obviously, you don't want interior lights to be on at that point, so we'll actually shut the lights off. It'll also shut off by timer.
Yeah. One thing that's important to note on that, too, for that timer is that it's adjustable. You can do a 15-minute, 30-minute, 60-minute, or 90-minute predetermined time on it. That's one of the things that a lot of fleets asked for was, hey, this brand only does 15 minutes, or this one does 60 minutes. I want more flexibility for what my drivers are needing. So we added that where you can easily change it, but at the same time, too, it's not so easy a driver's going to get in there and change it. But regardless of what you put that timer on, if it does hit low voltage beforehand, it is going to still shut off to protect those batteries. It doesn't do any good to give you a interior lights for your drivers if they run the truck batteries or liftgate batteries down to the point that you have a no start or a gate that doesn't work. So we tried to make this as smart as we could and still give all the safety. And the other thing we do with it as well is before it shuts off, it'll actually blink those lights to let you know it's about ready to shut off. So there's a 3-minute warning where it'll blink 3 times, 2-minute warning, blink the interior lights twice, and 1 minute. So trying to give you all the safety, protect the batteries, and protect the driver.
Absolutely. Thanks, Larry. So kind of going into, there's also a LED on the front of this nose box. And some of the logic built behind that LED, when you turn the lights on, it's going to give you a white solid LED saying, indicating that those lights are on. If we've hit that low voltage set point, that's configurable with the dip switches, we'll actually give, if you reach that set point, we'll give you a solid orange LED, indicating that we're about to shut off due to a low voltage scenario. If we've exceeded the current limits, we'll give you a yellow solid LED. And then if there's a short somewhere in that circuit, we'll give you a purple LED. So some really clear indications of what's going on with the interior lights. So the side connections, this is a neat feature that we've added. And again, like Larry mentioned, we've done a lot of research. We've seen, with our experience, we've seen a lot of nose boxes, and typically there's just it's a rat's nest inside these boxes. So we took that back to the design board, and we added some extra connection points on the outside of the box, so you can keep everything from getting balled up inside. Being that it is external, we want to make sure we can protect all those circuits from the outside elements. So it has a cover over all those connections to keep them protected. Another feature, obviously you don't want a driver to have to go all the way up to the front every time to hit that button to turn the lights on. We recognize that, so another pin on the side connection is the ability to add multiple switches. You can add multiple switches throughout the trailer in whatever convenient location that the driver would need to turn those lights on. Again, it's about making it easier. We don't want to make it harder on the drivers to do that. So that's another added feature. And you can add multiple switches. There's not a set number on how many switches you add.
Let's go back one slide, Jimmy. I want to point out one other thing that we did incorporate in this box.
Certainly.
Is if you can kind of zoom in there, the lower picture where it's kind of a blowout there, you notice there is one labeled telematics. We don't necessarily make telematics, but what we wanted to do was be able to provide information to your telematics company. So whatever brand you're using your fleet, let us know. And if you want that ability, we can work with that manufacturer and give different information to their system to alert you. For example, if this was on a liftgate application, state of charge of the liftgate batteries, excessive current, all kinds of different things. But again, we don't make the telematics. We just want to help you and give the ability for our product to communicate with their product and make the system that much better for you.
Absolutely. You can also see on here there's a location for 3 grounds. If anybody's familiar with working on a 7-way box, there's a ton of grounds that are associated with the 7-way. So we recognize that, and we give you plenty of locations to connect your ground circuit. So another, on the opposite side of the box, there's another side connection where you can actually connect your dual pole cables. Again, those are fairly large cables on a dual pole circuit, 4 gauge or 2 gauge. That really takes up a lot of room inside a nose box. So we provide a side connection to actually connect those cables. And it's protected right at that connection with a 200 amp mega fuse. And again, it's on the outside exterior of the box, so we want to make sure we protect those connections from the outside elements, which we address that in this nose box.
The other thing, too, is nobody else offers the ability to put a big fuse at the nose of the trailer to protect those cables. We've seen a lot of trucks that were built and they added single poles or dual poles. They never put fusing or circuit breakers on it. So, number one, you should always have it on the tractor where it picks up power from the truck batteries. But this is another safeguard, too, for all that cabling the length of a trailer, that nobody wants a thermal incident. So this protects those cables the entire length of the trailer.
Absolutely. And it's closer to the power source. You always want to fuse, you're fusing the circuit or the cable. So again, having it at this box is just that much closer to that power source to give you that added protection. So again, we have some some installation guides, resources that you can definitely look into. We're a very service-oriented company, and there's a resource tab that you can look at to get all the information on this product line.
And do want to let y'all know that I'm seeing some familiar names on the attendee list today. That we will be at TMC next week. Go ahead, the next slide here. That we will be at booth 4332. So if y'all are in Atlanta next week for TMC, come by and see us. And if you do and you mention it, he'll give you a gift or something for stopping by. We do have some questions, so we ask, if you do have any more questions, type them in now. And no matter what is, please don't leave, because we do have a survey we would like for you to fill out as the closing. But we are going to take some of these questions that have been typed in and see what we have here. Oh, one thing too is I want to make sure mention is we do have the next 3 months webinars that we will be hosting are also in that resource link. So make sure you check that. But March 26th, our Hall Fest in Thomas Lewis will be hosting a webinar on our Steady Charge product, which is another charging system for auxiliary batteries, a little bit more specialty type applications versus our liftgate charging. April 30th, we're going to be doing a Solar Mythbusters episode. That'll be hosted by Hall Fest and Paul Weberson. And then May 21st, I will be doing another multimeter webinar, which is going to be kind of Multimeter 102. And we did the one last month, and people said, hey, I want you to go a little bit more in depth than just the basics. So we're going to try to cover some things like CAN bus readings, minimum, maximum, relative functions, just some of the other more in-depth stuff on a multimeter. But again, we're going to take some questions now and see what we got.
Okay, so first question here is, how many amps can the interior lights handle? Yeah, so we designed it to handle up to 30 amps. Typically, with the interior lights today going to LEDs, mainly LEDs, you should never exceed, I think the most I've seen is about 16 to 20, but we've designed it to handle up to 30 amps.
Yeah, even some of our food service with multiple, compartment temp where they got, several lights inside, and also is everyone, the quote unquote porch lights where they have lights on outside of the trailer to light up the liftgate platforms, whatever. We wanted to make sure it could handle, lots of capacity, but still, even though we were probably almost double what we've ever seen somebody needed.
All right, next question here. How many switches can be used on the OneConnect? Again, it's multiple fuses. Multiple switches. We give you that easy access on the side of the box. We're controlling the ground circuit on those switches, but you can add up to as many as you want. Typically, I've seen them, mounted, next to the liftgate at the rear of the trailer. But if you have a side gate, that's a really common location to put a switch. So the answer is multiple switches.
There's really no limit. That switch is just momentary to ground, so you can just daisy chain from switch to switch. We got some of the food service may have 3 quote unquote side doors for ramps or steps. Liftgate at the rear, maybe a liftgate on the opposite side. So every one of those locations can have a switch. And like Jimmy said, the liftgate at the rear, sometimes they put one on the outside, so if they're on the ground, they can hit the switch. And also once they're up inside the trailer, there's another one there by the rear one. But yeah, the number of switches is unlimited, because again, it's just going to ground. So you can go from switch to switch and put any number of them on you want.
Yeah, but I've even seen them in same location but multiple heights, depending on where they're at on if they're riding the gate up to get in the trailer. So yeah, it's multiple switches.
Next one is, can I use this to add lights to a trailer that doesn't, currently have lights? Yes, you can. That's part of the beauty of this, and why it is pretty popular with fleets is it allows very easy to add this box, give the interior lights or a controller to it without, again, mounting another box. And by doing this allows the ability to kind of clean up all those sins that trailer's been dealt with over the years of, poor repairs, multiple butt connectors, people tapping in everywhere. So is very good, if a fleet's wanting to add lights into trailers. And we see more and more, even LTL carriers are going away from translucent roofs and starting to put interior lights on. So just amazed at the popularity of interior lights anymore.
All right, so the next question, can this be used for a retrofit on an existing trailer? Absolutely. Like Larry mentioned in a previous slide, one of the things we incorporated into the design is the bolt pattern. You can either use the plate that comes equipped with the box, or the bolt pattern that we used, you can remove that plate and it'll fit the majority of the 7-way boxes that are out there. So it's take the old box off, and the new box will fit right in its place.
One thing I also want to mention, talk about interior lights, I'm going to go back a couple of slides here, is we talked about the OneConnect that's got the dual pole and 7-way, that if this was, a liftgate trailer that didn't have a charging system, or maybe some other auxiliary battery that, they use a dual pole on it. The nice thing about that interior light control, we can very easily move that power wire inside so that you can, select where you want to pull that battery power from for those lights. Whether you want it to come off liftgate batteries, you want to come off dual pole straight from the truck, whether you want to come off aux bin. Where do you want to pull or power those interior lights? But no longer having to leave the key on inside the truck to have the aux bin hot. If you want to pull from liftgate, you want to pull from dual pole. So it gives you a lot of flexibility when you talk about the boxes that have multiple sockets on. We do have another. We did have some of that commented that they lost sound. Again, tomorrow you will be getting an email that has the recorded version of this. So do apologize for any audio video issues, but tomorrow you will get the recorded version of this. And those will stay on that server for usually about a month or two. Then after that, they get transferred to our YouTube channel, so you can see them at any time. And currently right now there's probably 160 plus videos of different training, like the multimeter training we did last month. There's all those different videos that we try to make available to you any time of day, because not everybody can always be here live. Let's see if we had any others. It looks like that was all the questions. So
again, we'll have this next week at TMC. We'll have all this in hand, so you can touch, feel, see the product firsthand, and ask us any questions that you may have.
We talked about the next 3 webinars. If you have suggestions on anything you would like for us to cover, please send those in too, in comments or questions. We want to provide these to help the industry and take care of customers. So if there's something else you'd like us to do, that's why we're doing the Multimeter 102. That the first one has been one of our most popular webinars. That's why we do it every year. But we have had feedback saying, hey, I want the next chapter of that. And same thing with some of the other training type webinars we've done on battery testing, winterizing, get ready for winter, all those. So if you have any suggestions, please don't hesitate to send those in. And if we don't have any more questions, we are going to turn this in the webinar for now. But again, stay online and connected, because there is a survey we want you to do. Again, we ask you to do that to make sure that, we're doing right by you and giving you the best content possible. So please answer those accordingly. And worst case, hopefully we'll see you all next month or at TMC next week. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, everybody.